Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today on tillandsia wreath making. It is a wonderful one that we have done almost every year now, and I've really enjoyed it and really love being part of it. I'm Taylor. I'm the moderator today, so I'll be answering some questions and working on a project as well. And our speaker is the wonderful Jen Strobel. She is over here with all this kinds of fun stuff to talk about tillandsias and succulents on these wreaths and just how to create them, and we're going to have a good time. Hopefully you can join us for future talks. And if you want to see anything else, we have a whole catalog of classes in the past. So I'm going to pass over to Jen and let's get started creating.
Thanks, Taylor. Dan's here with me too. And I really love that it's raining and we're making wreaths. I kind of wish we were all in person because it's super fun. I plan on talking maybe for about a half hour. I'm going to just go over quickly first the materials that we're using. So E6000, you want a waterproof glue. This is critical. And glue guns do not work because glue guns are not waterproof and they also can burn your plants. And then I have wire and pruners, scissors. I have some ribbon, succulents, and tillandsias, which are the star of the show. Which tillandsias, if you don't know, are air plants, so they don't require soil. And then I have wreath forms. I have these grapevine wreath forms. You can also use an evergreen wreath form, which we did, I think, last year. So that recording is available. You can check that out. But you can apply the same concepts that we're doing here to this. And then I went out in our back sort of 40 here, and I took some clippings of things that are looking kind of seasonal this year. So I have cotoneaster, ligustrum. I thought this was kind of cool. It's clematis. And then I did get some cedar and fir just clippings too to try to incorporate. So I put this together yesterday to just show kind of a quick demo. And I have this empty one here. And I was thinking about this last night, and that we're talking about wreaths, and when you think about wreaths, you know, they're like on a door like this. But you can also take this arrangement and put it as a centerpiece on your table and put, you know, a candle in it or a bowl with fruit or something like that, and it could be really cute. So I thought I'd ask you all, what would you rather see me do? Complete this wreath, in other words, go all around, or start fresh and do this wreath? So if you want me to complete this wreath, raise your little hand. I'll see how many people want that.
Yeah, there's a little option or button on Zoom where you can actually hit the hand and it'll raise it up.
Yeah. Anybody want that? No.
So far we got about 4 or so. Yeah. It's starting to, you know, a small percentage, but there's some interest.
Okay, so then everybody wants this one?
Start from scratch?
Yeah, that was a big jump, actually. I think we want to start with a new wreath. That's a large amount of everyone wants to do that.
Okay, so the first thing you want to determine is what is the top of your wreath. It seems kind of I don't know what, self-explanatory, but I've actually done this a lot of times and not thought of it and regretted it later. So pick the top, because that's a good place to start in terms of your design. And you can figure out where you want to do the arrangement. It could be at the bottom, at the side, at the top, or it can be all around. So choose the top to start. And then I don't really think that you can go wrong with whatever you pick. So don't overthink your plants. Just start grabbing stuff and, you know, attaching it to the wreath. So I love something like this, especially for a bigger wreath. This is a larger tillandsia. And what I'm going to do, I think it's easier with the tillandsias to wire them on. You can use fishing line, but it's a little bit harder to sort of weave the fishing line because it's not as strong, I guess. So it's harder to weave it through the thing. So I like the wire. And I'll put it around the plant. And wrap it around.
I have an initial question that was asked is what is the glue that you're using right now? I have one here as well, it is the E6000. There's a lot of different kinds of silicone glues, but these are the ones that are, they're waterproof and they're nice and sticky, but they're not really dangerous for the plant or not toxic for the plants. So you can actually use these to stick a lot of things to different projects, tillandsias and succulents and whatnot, but you still have to be a little bit careful about covering too much of their water absorbing parts of the plant.
Yeah, I never put it right on the roots of the plant. And if you use it in your indoors, definitely have ventilation because it's pretty strong. So see, that's just, it's on there like that. It's really cute. And then I'm gonna show with the succulents, you can cut them wherever. And I know it's kind of dramatic when I do this, but I'm just gonna do that. So I'm taking this whole thing off. And I'm gonna wire this too. And this will grow roots and this will grow up again. So you're not killing plants, you're actually making more plants. So don't feel bad when you do this.
Yeah, it's a quick way of propagating succulents. I always find that if you're able to cut off the top and the bottom or the root structure is still intact, they just grow right back from the bottom and you get multiple from that right away.
I know when we used to do all these in person, people would be collecting all the leaves and stems and stuff from the table because you can make a million different plants with it. It's really cool.
As Jen's working through and attaching her succulents and everything, I'm also working on one today. I'm right now starting with adding a bunch of moss. We have a bunch of mosses in our stores. This is the Bella Moss brand. And this is like the forest one, I believe. I really like the darker green color, but there's a whole bunch of other options. So if you're doing projects this season that you would like to have a nice mossy background, they are inert. They're not a live moss. They are dehydrated, dried out, and preserved, as well as colored. So they have a really nice kind of look to them. I'm going to start with a little bit of a green going through.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I do have moss too. I forgot that as part of the supplies. So there's a ton of different moss. I do want to show you how to glue if you are going to use the glue. So I just do that. I do a glob like that. So it's not touching the roots basically. And then I'm gonna work it in, and then you kind of have to hold it there for, I don't know, 30 seconds or something, just to make sure that it's grabbing on.
As you move forward, Jen, and I will show some as well because I'm doing a lot of wiring onto my wreath, but there are people asking about a little bit more close-ups on how you're actually wiring it through it, and especially both for the succulents and tillandsias if you're doing any different little tricks.
Oh, okay. Well, let's wire this one. Okay, so can you see this all right? Okay, so I want to make sure that there's enough on either side of the plant to be able to work through the wreath. So just take that into consideration. But then I sort of put it through like that. Can you see the wire going through?
So you're not stabbing it through the plant, but
No.
but essentially just working it through the leaves.
Yeah.
So that it'll hang on.
Exactly. So then I'm just going around, and then I usually go around once or twice. Like that. So can you see how that's like that?
Yeah, I think it gives an idea.
Okay, and then I'm just going through, I mean, literally just threading the wire through the braid button here. And then grabbing it. On the other side. And then twisting it. around the back. And I'll clean up all this wire, you know, at the end, but this is the behind the scenes. Yeah. I'm gonna stick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through a quick wire thing as well. So I've been making little spirals this morning, just kind of preparing for this. And so I make a little wire spiral and then I kind of extend it out to create a bit of a catch. And then like she was saying, you just kind of go through and almost like spin it around the succulent, or not the succulent, the tillandsia. And the wire just kind of goes through the leaves where their holes are, but not actually piercing the plant at all. And it actually holds it really, really well.
Yeah, it does.
And Taylor, what kind of wire is that?
Oh yeah, good question. So I'm using two kinds of wires, and I think Jen is probably as well. This kind of gold-ish colored one is what was considered a tillandsia wire, I believe. We sell them in our stores every once in a while. We have some nice tillandsia wires. And it's just a nice little roll of colored, sometimes gold, sometimes purple, sometimes silver wire. I also am using a whole bunch of bonsai wire. I just do a lot of bonsais myself, and so I have this around and love playing with it. But rolls of bonsai wire, it's an aluminum. Yeah, I believe it's a aluminum style with a little bit of a coating on it. Very easy to move around, but still pretty sturdy. So any kind of like floral wire or anything like that should work as well.
Yeah, you just want to make sure it's not super stiff. So it's easier to sort of work around and do the wreath.
Yeah, most of the floral wires are real malleable, so they bend easily, but they keep their form, but they're not super strong.
Do we add some of the cut pieces?
Yeah.
Should. I'm actually really liking this. So with these, I just kind of wedge them in. I don't really.
Okay, so what do you have there?
Oh, sorry. This is a ligustrum.
Which is
Or
privet. Privet seeds, right?
Mhm. The birds like them. I just like the tone of it. It's really cute. Yeah. It's like a bluish kind of. I don't know if you notice it, but I do. One thing for a design thing is I do kind of like to balance it out. When I'm putting the plants together, so just like thinking of like tones for. So this has these little. This floral paint that we're getting fancy with now. And so this has this pink tone, and then they did over here, it's sort of balanced out with that pink purpley, and same with the ligustrum, and then the silvers. So that's just a little thing to consider when you're doing your design. I want to try to use these because I'm like, this clematis I thought was really cool.
This is one of the native clematises.
Clematis.
Clematis. And these are the seed pods, which are really fluffy, and they have the seeds embedded in them.
It has kind of a mossy look. And I will show with the moss. I don't know, Taylor, did you already do moss? I'll glue some moss in. Yeah.
I did do some. So I started out by just because I have a pretty nice woven wreath here. Do we have to talk about what kind of material these are made out of? These wreaths. Yeah, these wreaths are grapevine wreaths. So it's a bunch of grapevines that are dried and put into these circles. They're very common all over the place. And I find that I'm able to kind of stuff moss into some of the cracks and crevices really easily, and it holds itself. And then if I want to actually put some more decorative moss that is a little bit fluffier, or maybe wants it to like stick out a little bit more, Jen's doing it right now, and I'll stop talking so you can see it soon, but you'll be able to glue it on to the area.
Yeah, I'll show you.
And where would I acquire one of these wreath forms?
So I got this at the Flower Mart, but they're definitely at a lot of craft stores. So Michael's, Joann's, all those have the wreaths. Okay, so I'm doing just a glob on the moss like that. And then I'm just gonna crunch it in. Yeah. I did want to show this. I did this on the other little wreath, but I thought this was really cute, kind of dripping down. And so
It's a sedum of some kind, a succulent,
I think it's a senecio, but
or
yeah, it's
senecio. Oh, that's the string of dolphins.
string
I
of
think.
dolphins.
Yeah.
String of dolphins. So you could do that and then just glob it up with a bunch of glue. And then just kind of wedge it in there.
I think you have the Julia Childs style of decorating here. It's
What is
it's
that?
like don't be itsy pooey, just get in there and do it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is already coming together quick. So I know I've said this a million times before, but I think one of the biggest hurdles is knowing when to stop. Because you could, I mean, this could go on for hours. I did got these bells in that I thought this would be kind of fun on a wreath, right? There's a small one and a larger one, so you could do, you could have it hanging from the top, or maybe I'll just incorporate it down here. And that would be, if it's on your doorstep, I think it's just a nice little add to it. It's a jingle bell.
A jingle.
For the holidays.
Yeah, we got those in recently. They're really cool. I like the very like rusticy kind of look. They're very like not fully uniform. And they sound great. They're a really nice little bell if you want to get some nice bells for your wreaths or your doorways or anything like that. We have all of them in all of our stores.
Yeah.
If you get the large size, be sure to get a drumstick to go with it so that you can make more cowbell.
Dan wanted to do a cowbell joke, so I'll do a couple. And then another thing is the ribbon. So you can think about if you want to do a bow or just have a hanger. I'm definitely not a bow expert, but I mean, you could do something like this and have it be at the top or have it be at the bottom. So you can think about like that as part of your design too. Or you can just take a ribbon and just use it, as a hanger. Just about like that. And do a bow up top. So how does that look?
It's looking really nice. Yeah, I think a good thing we can talk about as we go is a little bit more of the care that you can expect to do when you have these in your house.
Yeah, good. Okay, so care. The succulents and tillandsias have a very similar needs for light and water, and so bright light is good for both of them. Not really a direct sun situation, so if your doorway is in direct blasting sun, these won't be that happy. So bright light, and then what you can do, I should have brought one, but is mist it. And you can mist them every other day or so, and that'll keep it looking fresh, and that's adequate enough moisture for the plants. And what's nice about this is you know, after this holidays or whenever, all of this can be taken apart and you can plant, you know, you can move the succulents into your garden or into a container. The tillandsias can go indoors on a ledge or in a vase or something like that. So this can definitely go on past the holidays. I don't know why, I mean, you could also leave it up year round. It's not super festive looking at, you know what I mean, like specific.
It's not red and white.
Unless you incorporate one of these, which we think is a candy cane Dr. Seuss plant. So yeah, otherwise this, I think you could go year and just have it year round. You can incorporate bromeliads, which are related, this is in the tillandsia family. I've done this before. Okay, I'll show you if you want to do it. So these actually are terrestrial, they need soil, so that's different than the tillandsias. So they have soil. This, and I'm gonna take off some of it. And so if you did want to incorporate this in your design, what I would do is kind of wrap it with some moss, like that.
Yeah, that kind of technique works for a lot of more semi-aroid, semi-terrestrial, or not arid, semi-epiphytic or semi-terrestrial plants. So
Yeah.
acorn ferns, bromeliads, stuff like that. Wrapping the root ball in the moss and attaching to something is very common.
Staghorn would actually be really cool in here. I think I'm gonna move this over there. Maybe I'm gonna go in here.
I also wanted to point out that I really do like the aesthetic of these wreaths. As you can see probably behind me, I have a bunch of them in my room from years past, and we've done these classes a bunch. I have my first one that we've ever made about 6 years ago.
Yeah, that was right after you started, I think, at Sloat.
Right when we started, when I was a young Slotian, Jen took me to one of her classes. And I know it doesn't look alive right now because it's not. But I have, this is the first tillandsia wreath we made, and I covered it in tillandsias and bromeliads, and it was great for a couple of years. And as some of it died away, or I lost a few of the tillandsias, I took off the ones that were alive, and I made it into more of it's kind of hard to see, but a dried leaf wreath. And it's just all the different like dried flowers and dried leaves from my garden or my room that I've just put onto this wreath over the past couple of years, and it's come into this bit of a jumbled mess, but I really like it. So it's definitely something you can have if you like that kind of more browns and dried look aesthetic.
Taylor, did you see how I wrapped the wire around the? So like if you do the bromeliad, so see how the moss is around it. So then I just took the wire and I just went like that all around it a couple of times.
So the wire's holding the moss
Yeah.
together around the bromeliad roots.
And then I'm twisting it in the back.
You can use wire to hold the moss. If you have fishing line like we said in the beginning, you can use fishing line to go around it, or even twine. Anything that kind of just like holds it.
Mm-hmm. See, that just took it in a different direction. I feel like I need to add more plants now. I don't know.
Or modify where the top is.
Or modify the top. See, this is the thing. It's just a creative process. Yeah, I need to do that. And maybe one more tillandsia. So again, this is a type of jade plant, so I'm just gonna put that like that. Go. And I'll do the glue. I'll show the glue. So I'm just gonna do that. Just start putting them in. The glue dries pretty quick, I'd say within a few minutes.
So I think definitely for some more care tips for these, as we were mentioning, because it's a little bit more of an impermanent structure, you can definitely mist them or spray them or kind of just apply water as best you can. You can soak the roots of the succulents. You can soak the roots of the bromeliads for any of that kind of for care. About once a week is generally pretty good, but you might have to adjust that depending on just how dry or humid your house is, or where it's sitting, or if there's a draft. But they're pretty hardy plants and they can last through a good season or two, with kind of slight minimal care, and then either taking them apart or doing some more maintenance is what's probably required.
Dan just suggested that this needs some cedar, and I agree, so we're gonna do that. Taylor, that's a good point. Do keep in mind, if this is by like a heater or something, or the plants aren't gonna like that, or like a fireplace or something like that. So just keep that in mind in terms of placement. Yeah, that looks fun. Okay. Oh, raise it. Okay. It might not be fully glued. How's that look?
Spectacular.
Does it? Hmm. And do
Yeah,
we need
I really like the coloration, the silvers and the greens, and then having the pops of purple kind of throughout it is a really nice little touch.
Yeah, and it's not, I don't think it's super, Christmassy or something like that, where you can't have it up, for a longer period of time. So you can take out the cedar if that feels weird.
Well, you could always add some of the red berries for the Christmas season, and then they would disappear after a while on their own, if they're real berries, and then it wouldn't be quite so seasonal.
You can also, you can add ornaments like globes and, little. The bow, we have a bow.
My goodness.
We have a bow. Okay.
All right.
Raise it up.
Levanta. Oh. Amazing.
For hanging it up, do you have maybe some sort of hook or wire in the back? How'd you hang it?
These don't. I mean, you can, if you have a nail in your door, you can just do that, or you can get one of the wreath hangers. Yeah, or like I said, you can take the ribbon, and have that be have it hang like with the ribbon like that, and around the nail in your door. So yeah, is everybody gonna make a tillandsia wreath for the holidays?
I hope so.
I want to see yours, Taylor.
Yeah. I am still working through it. But I do like the one-sided arrangement. I'm gonna probably put a couple more down here. Let's see if I can scoot back. So I've been filling in a little bit around with a little bit of a green, because I kind of want it to feel a little bit more of a woodland background kind of vibe, and then coming in with just tillandsias. I only have tillandsias, I don't have succulents with me. So and then some little pops of color through different kinds of coloration of mosses that we have. And then I'll probably put a bow on it. I don't have a bow with me today, but I'll probably a little bow on it to have it as a more festive wreath, and then maybe take that off later on in the year. Let me show you also, I have another one that I made 4 years ago in one of our classes. And this one actually has tillandsia still on it. So another example, you see it's kind of a similar look, but I have mosses going around. I have these little tillandsias just kind of sitting here in different parts of them. They're a little bit dry. As I said, this is quite an old one, and it's been sitting in my room for multiple years, and they're still kicking, and they're still alive, and I give them a spray every once in a while. I forget about them for a little bit, and they're still around. So they're pretty hardy plants. And then, as Jen was doing as well, you can use the greens or the garlands that we have in our store. and have greens or garlands going through the plant. And these are now dried and very brown from years of being on this, but they actually held up and their structure is still there. So if you do like that kind of more green look to that, it lasts for a good while and it works pretty well. I grabbed just a piece of garland from our store, and I've been breaking it apart and I can put it on the wreath as well.
Yeah, and if you did do it on one of these, if you use one of these, I've actually seen it where people will either just, you know, after the holiday, you can sort of cut the greens so they're not, once they turn brown, then it ends up looking sort of mossy in a way. If you just cut the greens, and then the plants will start sort of rooting on that. So you can use this as a form too. And I don't know if I mentioned already, but we do have a video on that. So that's on our website. We did this last year, I think. We did one of these wreaths.
The evergreen wreaths have a metal frame that the evergreens are wired to.
Yeah.
So it's a little different than the grape.
Yeah, well, I mean, are we at a half hour? We did it. We did it.
We did it. Yeah. I know I'm going to be finishing up mine. I'm going to be bringing it into our store. I work at the Sloat Garden Store on Sloat Boulevard. So you might see some of these wreaths there for sale, but they're really fun to make. If you can find any kind of structure, these wreaths are really great for this kind of job, but any kind of structure or wooden thing or even planks and stuff like that, you can make some fun arrangements for the season with tillandsias and succulents.
Yeah, I've even seen cool, like you could do this concept with a neat piece of like driftwood that you could just take, you know, a string or a ribbon to hang it and then just have your arrangement like that. That could be cool too. So, I mean, just sort of think outside the box. This is definitely a conversation piece. So anybody that comes to your house for the holidays is going to be really impressed with your work. And thanks everyone for joining us. This is the last webinar of the year, like we said, which is kind of weird, but looking forward to 2024. Have a lot of classes coming up and events, and we're really excited about the in-person events too, so that'll be fun. So
absolutely. Thank you for joining us today for this little quick demonstration and fun craft time. We hope to do some more of these. We hope to do some more, as Jen said, in-person events coming up, and more teaching events. So hopefully the new year brings some good ideas and good fun times. If you have any questions about little projects you can work on and things you can make, I mean, come into the stores. All of our staff members are quite creative and they can help you find some fun stuff. Someone was asking if everything's available at our stores. The actual framework is not available at our stores, but all of the tillandsias, the mosses, many of the wires are all at our stores. Some of them even might have the glue. You never know. Definitely ask, see what kind of project materials they have, and they'll help you out.
And when will this video be available to people to look at again?
thank you. Tuesday.
Tuesday.
The recording will be on our YouTube and on our website, so you can go back and pause and whatnot. And yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for all the attendance and all the questions and everything. You're sending lots of good ideas and love to us. So I really appreciate it. And I hope we have a good rest of the year. Yeah.
Thanks.
Goodbye. Have a good day.
Bye.